It was a Wednesday, the kind that felt like a copy of a dozen others just like it: gray skies, lukewarm coffee, a voicemail from my mother reminding me about a doctor's appointment I told her I'd already scheduled. Jordan left for work early. He always did lately. I was starting to forget the way his voice sounded when he wasn't saying something monotonous like, "Don't forget the credit card bill," or "Close the garage door this time." By 9 a.m., I was alone, barefoot, wiping crumbs off the same marble counter we spent a fortune on last year to make the house feel finished. But nothing felt finished. Just stalled. Then the mail came. I remember hearing the soft metallic thunk of the slot, the warm paper hitting tile, bills, catalogs, a political flyer I tossed in the recycling bin before even reading. And then the envelope. It was thick, smooth, heavy like good stationery. No return address. Just my name, handwritten in bold, rounded script. Ella, all caps. No last name, no stamp or mailing barcode. It hadn't been sent. It had been delivered. My stomach twisted. No one called me Ella except Jordan. Everyone else used Eleanor or Elle, even online delivery services. But this was personal. I set the rest of the mail aside and opened it. One piece of paper. No date, no greeting, just 5 typed words on thick cream cardstock. "I saw what you did." That was it. No name, no signature, no context, just that. My hands went cold, fingertips tingling, as adrenaline began to pump from some ancient instinct threat, exposure, fear. But fear of what? I hadn't done anything. Not really. I stood frozen in the kitchen for minutes, reading the note again and again as if it would reword itself into something less vague, less intrusive. But it didn't. It stayed exactly the same. And somehow that made it worse. By the time Jordan came home, I had shoved the letter into the back of the drawer beneath the wine opener. I didn't mention it. Didn't ask if he'd seen anyone near the mailbox. Didn't hint. Because I wanted it to go away, and giving it breath would only make it real. "We got anything good in the mail?" he asked over dinner, twirling his spaghetti with the mechanical precision that came with eating the same 5 meals every week. "Just bills," I said. "And some political junk." He nodded. Didn't press. He never did anymore. That night, he fell asleep on the couch, watching a rerun of something he was too proud to admit he'd seen 4 times already. I sat beside him, legs folded under me, phone in hand, staring at the search bar like it might offer answers. Anonymous letter. "I saw what you did." Psychological abuse, stalking, affection. It was too specific and yet not specific enough to mean anything. Or worse, everything. At 2:13 a.m., I got up and retrieved the envelope again. Held it under the soft yellow light of the bathroom lamp like it might reveal fingerprints or some hidden message in invisible ink. Nothing. No watermark, no clue. Just those 5 words on thick paper. I placed it beside me in bed. The envelope slanted on the pillow, like a second secret partner. By morning, it haunted every room I entered. The second letter came Friday, tucked just under the front doormat. This one was smaller. Inside, another typed note. "He doesn't deserve your loyalty." My throat closed. I read it 3 times, then locked the door behind me even though it was the middle of the day. Same cardstock, same typewritten font, same envelope, still no signature. Still handwritten Ella on the front. No one calls me Ella, except Jordan. No neighbors, no friends, no coworkers. So whoever was leaving this knew me. And more unsettling than that, they had opinions about me, about Jordan. That night, I didn't eat dinner. Pushed penne around my plate, pretended to have a headache, took a bath instead, pretended to fall asleep before he came to bed. I watched him undress in silence, watched him climb in on his side and roll away from me. And just like that, I started to wonder if the letter was right. Not because Jordan was a terrible man, but because, what were we? A decade in, and I felt more like a bookshelf in his life than a partner. Something built carefully for display, dusted once a week, still standing, but never pulled off the wall anymore. He didn't kiss me anymore, unless it was goodbye. He didn't notice when I cried during commercials. He barely looked up when I told him about a bad day. It wasn't infidelity. It wasn't fighting. It was indifference. And indifference kills love louder than hate ever will. I spent Saturday researching handwriting analysis, comparing the loops in the A's and the slant of the L in Ella. I even pulled out a Christmas card Jordan had written me 2 years ago. To my Ella, thank you for loving me through the quiet. The handwriting was different. Very different, so either it wasn't him or he had gone out of his way to disguise it. That should have comforted me. Instead, it unraveled me more. On Sunday, I visited my sister. I didn't mention the letters. She asked how Jordan was. I said busy. She asked how we were. I said fine, which is what people say when they are anything but. When I got home, there was another envelope waiting on the kitchen island. This time, there were no words inside, just a single black and white photo, blurry, zoomed in. But mine, me, through a window, in the hallway, wearing the same off-shoulder sweater I wore the previous Sunday. My breath stopped in my chest. I sank slowly into the nearest chair, the photo trembling between my fingers. It wasn't a flattering image. My hair was up in a messy clip, my posture slouched, a wine glass in my hand. I wasn't posed or pleasant or polished. I looked like someone trying to hold it together. But that wasn't the worst part. It was the angle. High. Like it had been taken through the second floor window of the house, across the street. I turned, eyes drawn instinctively to the window overlooking the driveway. Our neighbor's house directly faced ours, 2 stories, large windows. Andrew lived there, mid-40s, divorced, rarely home. A quiet man who mowed his lawn at odd hours and waved politely when he saw Jordan. But not me. Never me. I stood slowly and stepped toward the window, pulling the drapes aside just an inch to peek through at the house opposite. It stared back passively, blinds half closed, drive empty. I backed away. Heart pounding. It wasn't confirmation, it was just possibility. But possibility was enough to make me feel unsafe in my own skin. When Jordan came home that evening from running errands, I was seated at the dining table with both letters and the photo aligned in a neat little row in front of me. I watched his eyes find them. He stopped walking. "What's that?" "A game," I said quietly. "Let's call it truth or silence." He looked at me like I was speaking in riddles. "Ella, don't call me that." He hesitated, then sat down across from me, his jaw tightening. I slid the first letter toward him. "I saw what you did." He read it, mouth flat, then looked up. Then I pushed the second. "He doesn't deserve your loyalty." His eyes narrowed. Still unreadable. Finally, the photo, him seeing it made my skin crawl. I wanted him to erupt, to show outrage, concern, fear, something. But he studied it like it was part of some budget report for work. Eventually, he leaned back, folded his arms. "Where'd you get these?" "In the mail, left under the door, on the counter. I don't know how they got in. I don't know who." "And you think I sent them?" he said. I didn't answer, but he saw it in my face anyway. His lips curved upward. A sad little breath of a laugh. That's what you think of me? I think I've been married to a stranger for the last 3 years. He stood up, ran a hand through his hair. I saw it then, the exhaustion, but not from guilt. From years of holding a version of himself together that neither of us cared about anymore. I didn't send them, Eleanor. You're the only one who calls me Ella. Ever. I do, he said. Or, I did. He came closer, pulled out the chair beside me, Saturday down again, softer now. You really think I'd want to scare you like this? I don't know what I think. Silence settled like dust. Then he said, almost too quiet to hear, I didn't send them, but I think I know who did. My spine stiffened. He leaned in, eyes not angry, just tired. You remember 2 years ago after your surgery? I blinked. Yeah, of course. The nurse. That guy. The one who asked if you liked music while checking your vitals. You thought he was charming. I remembered vaguely. Ryan? Jordan nodded. He went out of his way to talk to you. Even after your discharge. Dropped off your prescription bag personally. You said I was imagining it, because I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. I stared at him. There's no way I caught him once, watching you. In the hallway of the pharmacy a week later, you were in the car. He didn't see me, but I saw him. Why didn't you tell me? 'Cause nothing ever came of it. I told him to back off. That was that. Didn't want to make you scared. Or feel guilty, like it was your fault. I said nothing. He leaned back again. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's someone else. But someone clearly thinks they know us and wants to scare the hell out of you or pull us apart. I looked at the letters again. 1 photo, 2 notes, maybe just enough to provoke, but not enough to explain. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept all the lights on in the bedroom and turned the ceiling fan low, just so I could hear if anyone was moving outside. At 2:51 a.m., I rose and pulled the envelope from under my pillow, flipping it in my hands, studying everything I'd already studied 20 times. And something occurred to me. The photo, it hadn't just captured me casually, it had captured me on the phone. My hand was midair in the shot, fingers curled like I was gesturing. I hadn't noticed it before. I pulled up my call log. Checked the timestamp from that Sunday. There it was. 3:08 p.m. call, unknown number 4 minutes 56 sec. I'd forgotten about it. Fuzzy memory. Some guy, wrong number, asked if this was the hotel. I said no. He said sorry and hung up. But what if it wasn't a wrong number? What if he just wanted me in frame long enough to grab a shot? My stomach twisted as I turned to the window again. From this side of the room you could see the street. My mind spiraled. Was someone watching? Even now. The next morning I told Jordan everything. The call, the photo, the fear. He softened, even held my hand for the first time in weeks. I'll install security cams today, he said. I should have done it when we moved in. You still think it's someone from 2 years ago? He shrugged. I think we made our lives so small, we didn't account for anyone else creeping in. By that afternoon, I had 3 notifications from the security software, and another envelope waiting at the front door. This one didn't even try to sneak in. It was just sitting there. Brazen now. Inside was a letter. Handwritten, this time. Smooth pen strokes. Neat. Wide loops. Still signed. Nothing. But now there were more words. You used to smile when he walked into the room. Now you flinch. I know because I see you. Every day. You're not crazy. You're trapped. You know it. He won't change. But he'll never let you go. Stop waiting for permission. I sat down on the stairs, My knees weak because this time something landed. Deep. Somewhere familiar. Because until I got these letters, I didn't even realize I had already been waiting. For a reason. For an excuse. For somebody else to say, "It's okay to leave." By evening, the walls started to feel closer. Jordan was in the garage, rearranging his tools again, pretending not to watch me while I moved through the house like it still felt like mine. I sat at the kitchen table, the letter open in front of me like a ghost that refused to drift away. "You used to smile. You flinch now. Was that true? Had I stopped smiling? Had I stopped living? The silence between us lately wasn't cold anymore. It was worse, it was comfortable, a numb kind of familiar. And maybe Jordan hadn't done anything wrong, but maybe that was the problem. He hadn't done anything at all. The door creaked. Jordan appeared in the doorway. "I changed the batteries in the cameras," he said, like it was something intimate, something that proved he was trying. I nodded. "Thanks." He hovered for a moment, scratched the back of his neck. "You still thinking about the letters?" "Yeah." His face was unreadable. He was always hard to read when he was trying to seem calm. "You think whoever wrote them is right?" he asked. I looked up. Honesty caught in the back of my throat like smoke. "I think," I said quietly, "they noticed something that we've both been ignoring." "Which is?" "That we're not really in this anymore," I whispered. "Not the way we should be." Jordan didn't argue. He didn't even look surprised. He just sat down across from me and looked tired. So unbelievably tired. And that more than anything told me I was right. He reached out and placed his hand over mine. "I still love you." I blinked back the sting behind my eyes. "Love isn't enough if we don't act like we do." He nodded slowly. Neither of us moved. Then finally he asked, "So what do we do now?" I didn't know. Maybe these letters were a warning, or a wake-up call, or an excuse. Maybe they were dangerous, or maybe they were a manifestation of something I could no longer deny. Either way, they worked. I stood up, walked to the drawer, and took out the entire stack, all of them. The notes, the photo, the neatly folded envelope with my name scrawled across it in someone's overly observant hand. Then I opened the back door, stepped outside, and one by one, I dropped them into the grill. Jordan joined me without asking why. We lit the flame together, and we watched the words that changed everything curl into ash,